Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video I am going to give you a background about myself and things that played out the way they did. So let's get started, I guess. When I was 5 years old, my mom passed away. My dad kind of checked out at that point, and my aunt had moved in with us. She had lived with us for maybe 2 years, and in that 2 years, she was very verbally and physically abusive to my brother and myself. And then she moved out. My dad married a girl out of high school. I know, crazy. And then he cheated on her and left us with her while he went and built a new life with a new girl and a new daughter. And then halfway through my 5th grade year, that's when we moved in with my grandmother. But while I was living with my stepmother, my predator, or I don't even really know what to call him, he would come to our house, and I don't even think my grandma knew about it. Still to this day, I don't think she did. He would come and get me because he knew my stepmom was working. He would get me after school, take me down to the boat launch, and do the things he wanted. Then I want to say, I don't know if it was like towards the end of 5th grade or like I don't know, but in the middle of 5th grade, my brother and I ended up moving in full time with my grandparents, and I ended up being easy access. And I'm pretty sure he was a part of convincing her to go get us. And even though I knew what was going to happen, it still made me happy to move with them because of my cousin. Let's call her Eve. Let's call her Eve. She loved Eve, the rapper and the singer, so we'll just call her Eve. I was super close with her, and I always looked up to her. I loved her. We were the same age, but she just, in my mind, was just awesome, amazing. I thought she was beautiful. I loved her. She was my cousin. The summer of 6th grade, my grandparents had added a 2-bedroom addition to the house, so my brother and I had our own rooms, and they ended up being a nightmare. Like, it was a nightmare. Between him always coming into my room at all hours of the night and my grandmother talking bad about me on the deck when I was literally right there because my bedroom was right outside the deck. Both sucked. I mean, my grandmother would be like, why are you coming out of her room at 11, 12, 1 in the morning? And he would say, oh, well, she had a nightmare. I was just making sure she was okay. Total bullshit. We all know that. So on top of all of that, my grandmother was horrible to me. I mean, she would just say things to me like, I don't know why you're wearing makeup. It doesn't do anything for you. She would always tell me I was ugly, and would compare me to my cousin. And it would just tear me apart. I mean, I loved my cousin. Her and I were super close, like really super close. And I felt like she would do that to me just to try to break me down. And she would always, tell my cousin, oh, you're so beautiful, and just compare me to her. And it was horrible. It sucked. So with her being that mean to me, the only person I had on my side was him, was my nightmare. I mean, he would get me the things that I needed. He would buy me the things that I needed: tampons, shampoo, deodorant. He would do my laundry because my grandmother never would. She would do my brother's laundry, but she would never do mine. My brother literally would have to take the trash out, and I would be the one who would have to vacuum, take care of the dishes, clean up the table, like just everything. And my brother didn't have to do shit. So as much as it sucked that he was my protector, he was also my, I don't know, it was a nightmare. So the person that was abusing me was also my protector, and stand up for me to my grandmother, because she was just so awful to me. In 8th grade, there was a instance where I thought I was pregnant. I hadn't had a period for 3 months, not knowing why or understanding about stress and things like that. I truly thought I was pregnant. So I ended up getting a pregnancy test, and yes, he bought it, and I took it, and I ran away. And with this particular moment, she told family and people that I was sleeping with a bunch of the guys, older guys, that I didn't even know who the father was, and that, she was making me get an abortion, and that's why I ran away, and all this and that. Well, no, I wasn't pregnant, thank God. But I wasn't sleeping with all these people. She was just painting this picture so she could cover her ass. And she did that a lot. She would tell people constantly that I was jealous of her and her marriage, and that I made up all stuff to, ruin her, and just would make me sound like this horrible sexual person, just so if I did say something to someone that they wouldn't believe me, and which was the case. When I told her about the abuse, she literally left me that same weekend with him to go to camp. She was constantly leaving me with him, knowing what he was doing. And I couldn't wrap my head around it. And I guess in the end, it was better me than her. Better him touching me than her. I would literally put a pillow over my face and just sob, and just waiting till it was over. And I just don't understand ever putting someone in that situation. My 9th grade year, she gave me the worst short haircut ever. I have really curly hair. You cannot cut curly hair like mine short. You just can't do it. And she would do these things to humiliate me, to try to make me look as horrible as I could. And I still don't understand why she did it to me. And when I was 15, I ended up having a nervous breakdown and put in the hospital for a few months. And upon my return home, I think I was only in the house for a month or so after that before I ended up moving out to go live with my big sister that started being a mentor to me when I was in 5th grade. I'll do a video on that another time. But when I did move out, she would tell the same thing to people, that I made up all this stuff and that I lied constantly and would make up all these things. But it's like when you have someone that's supposed to be your protector and they take the innocence away from you, because in fact he did take my virginity, and still to this day it bothers me. I try to, in the back of my head, try to convince myself that it wasn't him, but I can't change it and I can't do anything about it. And it makes me cringe. But the fact that he started when I was so young, it blows my mind. He took a perfect opportunity to start grooming me. My mother passing and being bounced around a lot and not having stability, and then all of a sudden him showing me love and affection and buying me things and doing all these things that I want or wanted at the time. It was like he did that just to do these things. And looking back now, I cannot wrap my head around the fact that my abuser was also like my protected me from this woman, and showed me affection and did things for me. I mean, I would have to pay for my school clothes. I would have to pay for anything that I wanted at 12, 13, 14, 15. And my grandmother got Social Security for me on my behalf from my mother passing. It's supposed to be to help support me in my needs, but she literally was collecting a check while I was struggling and buying my own things, or having the school nurse buy my tampons and explaining to me what's going on. Like that sucks. Like, in whose rightful mind is that normal? And the fact that she acts like she didn't know what was going on, and it blows my mind. And I thought that I was the only person, and I wasn't. Finding out that there was more crushed me, because I always felt like if he's doing it to me, he's leaving others alone, and that wasn't the case. And I, in my heart of hearts, believe that it started with his daughter. his family was never around him. And it was just weird. You know, my grandmother had a huge family. She had a lot of kids. And his son didn't really come around a lot. So it's like, I still wonder there, you know, what happened with that. So with all of this being said, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a timeline and a backstory of how it started for me, and the stages of what had happened. So I think in the next video, I'm going to talk about the first time he did things to me, and the things that he would say to me, and how he kind of built up to that event, to that time. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys a background on it, and the timeline on what had happened with things. So I appreciate you guys' support. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this. I would love to talk to you guys. I would love to hear, you know, feedback. I'm here if you need someone to talk to. If you've been through the same thing, my goal for this is to bring it more to the surface than it already is. I want talking about it to not be a horrible thing. I don't want it swept under the rug like a lot of people want to do. I mean, my grandmother said to one of the victims, "While you've kept your mouth shut this long, can't you just keep it shut a little bit longer?" Pretty much saying until he's dead. And that's not what we want. It needs to be stopped before it gets any further. So with that being said, I love you guys. I will update you a little bit more as soon as this next court date happens, because I want to be careful what I say until this court date, and it's only a couple days away. So after that, I will be able to go a little bit more in depth with things. But like I said with this video, I just kind of wanted to give you an outline of things. So I will see you guys again, and thank you for being kind and supporting, and have a great week.